Hey, are you interested in learning more about the whole reality shifting craze? Check out the audiobook, Parallel Universes of Self. It's the Bible of reality shifting worldwide, and I got to narrate it. A direct link is available on hightimelinebooks.com, or you can get it directly from Audible and Apple Books. Welcome in to the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller on TGI Friday for November 14th. I figured, hey, why not do them together, right? Do the Howl and the introduction and see how it goes, see if it played. Well, why not? And we do have a supermoon, so I think that deserves one more ow by itself. Well, this is a supermoon. The moon is about 224,000 miles from Earth. Now, keep that number in mind because we think of the moon as way out there in a way. And yet, I'm going to give you a number here in a minute that will just make that look like, wow, how big space is. Yeah, 224,000 miles. That's why the moon is appearing so big and bright and beautiful, and I hope you've been able to see it. Officially, today, that big full moon is at 4:28 p.m. Eastern Time. As Kristin well described yesterday, things around this, if you didn't catch her episode yesterday, I would refer you back to that, the interlacing of Venus, and we'll talk a little bit about Uranus today, but she described it well. So this is at 24 degrees 1 minute Taurus. And you know, we've been talking about planets in these later degrees. Uranus is at 25 Taurus, Neptune 27 Pisces, Pluto, 2955. We're going to get it into Aquarius next week, I promise. Mark your calendars on Tuesday afternoon for that one. I'll tell you, we ought to think of a ceremony to do around that. I'm telling you, that is really special. That is the big game changer of basically kind of the rest of our life, or at least depending on how old you are, a big chunk of your life, because as that moves into Aquarius, things are going to change. So these last degrees, as so much of this energy is wrapping itself up, and then plunk, boom, slam, bam, we have a full moon at the end of Taurus sitting on top of two things I want to bring out, Uranus and Algol. So I've been seeing all this Algol, and I don't follow the fixed stars. I really don't. I mean, I think we've got such beautiful embellishment with what we have right here in our own solar system. And here's the other number I was going to give you. Algol is 94 million light years from the Earth. How far is a light year? 1 light year is 5.9 trillion miles. So if you multiply 6 trillion miles times 94 million light years, you're talking around, I guess, 564 trillion miles out there. If I'm doing my math right, and I may not be, but point is, within our own solar system, we have this connection of planets that literally surround our sun in a perfect circle. Our own moon affects our gravity in and out every day, the cycle of the tides. But now we're talking about something that is nearly 600 trillion miles away in the Perseus constellation. And it has such a bad rap. And that's all I've been seeing online is just, oh, it's on Algol and Uranus and oh, no. Well, wait a minute. Every coin has two sides. So I had to go digging for the positive side of Algol. And fortunately, the folks at Astro Gold had written a little descriptor for Algol, which I think was a little bit unusual, but they did. They said it's a double star system with phases of greater and lesser brightness. In old beliefs, it was dangerous and difficult when darker. But in modern times, it's connected to bringing the subconscious to light. It unleashes great passions. Somebody else wrote that it was a star of transformation, of magic, of protection, and power. It often makes an appearance in the chart of radical artists and entrepreneurs. It was prominent in Picasso's chart, a revolutionary, Uranus of his time. So what I'm not interested in is hearing all one side of the coin, right? So we know the dark side of Algol, it's supposed to be the worst and all of that, but let's think about what we just heard. And let's put it with what we've just been through over this past week. Uranus, the radical, the revolutionary, There was an article yesterday in Earth Sky News that was great. It was about Uranus, and it was some new discoveries that they had from when Voyager crossed over it a long time ago. But I just captured some of the descriptors that this non-astrological article used about Uranus. First of all, it said it had an intense electron radiation belt around it of unexplainable origin. And then it said it wasn't what scientists expected. Well, there you go. That's Uranus. A rare event. Mysteries of Uranus. Strange, sideways outer planet, it was describing it. Unusual behavior. Surprises. A skewed view. And I put in our Facebook group, now you know how to interpret Uranus. Thanks, Earth Sky. You gave us a great description. So Uranus is stuck right next to this full moon. The full moon is at 24 degrees. Uranus is at 25. Algol is at 26. They're in a line. Boom, boom, boom. So if we used this as symbolism of releasing the subconscious awareness, transformation, magic, unleashing great passions, then you take all that Kristin said yesterday, and the moon is exalted in Taurus. Uranus rules astrology. It also rules our hidden genius. The music's still in us. I promise you I'm going to go embarrass myself in public tonight and go howl at this thing when it turns full. I'll try to project loud enough to be heard 560, 600 million trillion miles away, however far, so that even they can hear it on Algol. Let's celebrate this full moon. It'll be the last supermoon of the season as the moon starts to get farther away from Earth, but it should be absolutely beautiful tonight. Now, the other big thing today, and Kristin mentioned it yesterday, Saturn turns direct. It's at 9:20 this morning Eastern. That plucks another one out of retrograde. At least we're starting to slowly get some momentum and some forward energy going again. The next one to come out will be December 7th, at least not related to Mercury. We have a Mercury retrograde in there, but December 7th, Neptune will station direct. We still have Uranus and Jupiter ahead of us in 2025, and Uranus being on January 30th is going to be really strong because it will be moving really slow for the inauguration. And speaking of all this Uranian energy in the chart, the other aspect on Saturday at 9:44 p.m. Eastern, the sun ticks over one day, and it is now opposite Uranus, sitting right next to the moon. So it really all is tied together during today's full moon, but there you go. The exact aspect will be tomorrow. So lots of Uranus energy in the chart right now. So everything we just described from our friends at Earth Sky Report, the daily news feed that they put out if you subscribe to it, that's a big theme in the chart right now. So pick which side of Uranus you want to be on. I know a lot of people are talking on more the shadow side of what I've seen in public, and let's just stay on the positive side because there is so much here. Astrology is advancing. Kristin mentioned yesterday that this will be the last full moon with Uranus in Taurus. And when Uranus moves into Gemini, ruled by Mercury, its lower octave, I think that's when we really start to see astrology take off. When does that begin? It will start next summer, and then it will retrograde back and forth and then finally settle into Gemini in April of 2026. So it's one of those 5 outers that will be changing signs and changing energy over these next couple of years. That's going to be an exciting one. All right, I think you are set up. Listen to Kristin yesterday if you missed it, and we will see you back for Merriman tomorrow. Level Up Sunday night. Yes, you bet. Hope you can join us, and we'll see you back here again then on Monday. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Friday. Ow!